number 3. We are ending the book of Ruth today. The book of Ruth ended right after the book of Judges. It said it was during the time of Judges. It doesn't say when, but sometime during that period. Now, the question has always been asked, was this God ordained? I don't know about this particular family, Naomi, but God wanted Ruth to wind up in the lineage of Christ. A lot of people think that God's number one motive is to make you happy. That is wrong. God's number one objective is not to make you happy. They threw Christians into the lions. Lions ate Christians. They cut Christians. They put Christians alive on tar, put them, nailed them to a cross, and lit them up as torches. The gospel was never meant for your entertainment. It was never meant for your pleasure. Will God offer you peace and mercy and joy? Yes. He will give you the grace to die. When it's your time to die, He will give you grace. But the gospel was never intended for you personally to have a great life. Have a beautiful house, a nice car, wonderful children. No. You say, how do you know? Well, there's thousands of babies that are dead in the graveyards. You go to every graveyard in Houston and there is a baby lot. There was a reason. God chose that child to go home. Why? Hopefully somebody to get saved. Somebody suffered with cancer for years and years and wouldn't die and begged for morphine. And they eventually died. Everybody expects good things from God. I am here to tell you that God has a purpose. And His purpose is that His people might come to worship Him and know Him and want to get closer to Him. And it's not a lovey-dovey feeling. We're going to hold hands, and we're going to go here, and we're going to go there. Any couple will tell you they have fights. Some are tremendous fights. Good fights. You got to have a fight once in a while. Just got to do it. I mean, and God is the same way. So we see Ruth, Naomi, she has come back, chapter 3. And she told Naomi, her mother-in-law, said unto her, Ruth, my daughter, I shall not seek rest for thee, that they may be well with thee. She came back. Boaz had told her she could glean even among the corn that was not permitted. They told a handful of purposes. There's a whole message there, handful of purposes. I got a whole message on that. I got a book on that. Want to read a book? Handful of purposes. It's in my library. Found it yesterday. Showed it to Susie. And it's old. It's about 200, 300 years old. 200 years old at least. And it was written back in the early 1800s. where God purposely throws handfuls of purposes, but expects you to pick it up and put it in your bag. He's not just going to give it to you and deposit the money in the bank. Okay? There is no, we're going to electronically put the money in your account. No. Pick it up, take it home, sell it. That's how the poor were taken care of. Now Naomi hears about this and she says, I'm on a mission. I'm going to make sure you're well taken care of. Ruth, you're taken. You know what the elders want for their children and their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren, and their sister-in-laws and daughter-in-laws and all the rest? They want them to have a better life. Always a better life. I think that's good. That's been the philosophy for many, many years. I think we've come to the philosophy now where we have spoiled our children, and they're spoiled rotten. They won't take any responsibility for their life. None. They want somebody else to take care of them. And so you have 35, 45-year-olds staying home with mom and dad. Well, if that's the plan, fine. If that's not the plan, move. You're 45 years old, 35 years old, it's time to go. Amen. You barely getting into this, I can understand. You're still young. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Come on now. And she said, is not Boaz our kindred, whose maid thou wast? Behold, he wineth barley the night and the threshing fold. He's still working at night. Oh, what a term. Oh, my soul, he's working at night. He's working at night. Wives hate that. I got to work a couple extra hours. Well, what time are you going to be home? I got supper made. It's made already. Supper's made. You don't understand. Yeah, but I got work. I ain't coming home for at least 3 or 4 more hours. Why? Because I'm working. Trying to provide. He's working all that night. So she tells Ruth, wash yourself, take a good bath, anoint thee, in other words, put on some of that pretty perfume, that good smelling stuff, put on thy raiment upon thee, and get down there to the floor while they all been working all day. He said, you smell. Take a bath, put your pretty little dress on, the best one you got, put on some perfume, and go down there where Boaz is. But don't let him see you now. Until they have done eating and drinking. Yes, man, eat and drink. Amen. Now, you know, we're supposed to be Baptists, so we don't believe in alcohol and all that good stuff. But I will say this, they weren't drinking, and they was eating. It shall be when he lieth down, thou shalt mark the place where he shall lie. I see the tent where Boaz is going in, mark it. And I want you to go inside that tent. Thou shalt uncover his feet when he's asleep. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. You want to make sure. He's waiting outside in his pretty little dress with his pretty little perfume. Unwrap his feet. Lay down. And he will tell you what to do. Now that's how they did it back in them days. You said, do what? You want me to do what? I can understand the bath. I can understand the perfume. But you want me to uncover this man's feet and lay at his feet? And she said, yeah. And you know what she said? All that says unto me, I will do. Obedience. Obedience is better than sacrifice. I made a promise to God I was going to tell the truth, whether some people liked it, some people hated it. Too bad. You don't like it? But Jack always got in trouble. He preached a message on compassion. He was in Oklahoma. He says, I'm going to preach on compassion, and then he circled out all the letters except for A-S-S. Everybody laughed. And then he got to preaching on, you're an ass. He preached a famous message on 7 reasons why Billy Graham went to hell. You know why? Because when Billy Graham had a big giant conference, all the Episcopalians that came forward to get saved, they'd have signs. They'd have one of every denomination. Because all the denominations were together. So if you were Presbyterian, he'd say, go talk to the Presbyterian guy. See the sign with the Presbyterian? See the Catholic sign? Go to the Catholics. So every Catholic went to the Catholic priest to get saved. So here's this lost, hell-bound priest. You say, how do you know? I was born and raised a Catholic. I said, what does the Bible say, call no man father? I said, well, you got to pray about it, my son. I said, what does the Bible say we shouldn't have any graven images? Well, that's the old timers and the new timers. You know, it's still around for them. But eventually we were going to get rid of all these statues. Really? Yeah. Don't get rid of them. They hated me because I always asked them a question. I asked Brother Jack, why are you condemning this man when this man is preaching and I can see the power of God and I can see people getting saved, and 99.999% of the time he preached on Jesus right down the middle. But when they turned off the cameras for the invitation, all the Catholics that went to the Catholic side, they didn't get saved. They died and went to heaven. See, he made $100,000 for every revival. He was a hireling. You know what a hireling is? You get paid. So, as long as I preach on Jesus, I don't get nobody upset. Nobody mad at me. But when you preach the Bible, people get mad. You want me to do what? Uncover this man's feet and lay there? Are you crazy? Now, she was obedient. She said, I'll do it. So she did. Boaz had eaten and drunken, and his heart was merry. He was a happy guy. He fell asleep happy. And in the middle of the night, she came in softly, made sure he was still asleep. And she's thinking, my mother-in-law is crazy. And at midnight, the man was afraid and turned himself. He thought the boogeyman had showed up. He thought it was the Blair Witch, the Phantom of the Opera, Frankenstein, the Wolfman, Freddy Krueger, Dracula, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre guy. He thought it was Hannibal Cannibal. He thought it was the Exorcist. He thought it was Insidious, the Hellraiser, a zombie, the Pumpkinhead, Charles Manson, the Walking Dead. He thought it was the devil. He didn't know, but he was scared to death. He was scared. Who is this at my feet? Boaz was was scared, and behold, a woman lay at his feet. He said, "Who are you?" And she said, "I'm Ruth, thy handmaid. Spread therefore thy skirt over thy handmaiden, for thou art near kinsman." In other words, I want to marry you. You're supposed to marry me, I'm supposed to marry you. And he said, "Blessed be the Lord, my daughter." I like this part. "For thou hast showed me more kindness in the latter end than the beginning." He said, "I'm an old man, and I got more kindness now than I did when I first started." He said, "You could have followed the young men, but you didn't. You could have married some young man that could have made promises and all kinds, but instead you chose me." He said, "Fear not, for I will do that's required, for I know thou art a virtuous woman." He is on a mission from God. He wants to marry this one. He said, "But yet there's a problem. There's another near kinsman." Problem. Always going to be problems. Always. Let me repeat that. There will always be problems in your life. Marriage problems, money problems, marriage problems, children problems, you name it, you're going to have problems. Lots and lots of problems. Some you got to handle yourself, some you got to let God handle, and some you just back away and say, it's going to work it all itself out. You know, you got to be wise, man, to figure out which one to do. Now, my preacher told me, he said, God chose you as the preacher, or the pastor. He said, so there's problems. He said, there's some, we just let them work them out. He said, we got others, they'll be gone. He said, but the ones that persist, oh, we're gonna have to get that resolved. How many months we gonna wait? It could be a year. He had a guy. This guy just talked bad about him and talked bad about him and talked bad about him and talked bad about him until finally he told Brother Jack, he said, Brother Jack, what should I do? He said, leave him alone. He's here from God. He said, what do you mean he's here from God? He's fixing your roof. Leave him alone. As soon as he finishes fixing his roof and fixing your roof, God is going to tell him to move on. He said, wait. He said, I can do that. So he waited. Sure enough, the guy showed up and said, you know what? I believe God doesn't want me here at this church anymore. And I'm going to go and find me a new church. He said, well, you have a wonderful day, and I hope the Lord blesses you. Just like the old man said. It all worked out. He didn't have to tell the guy to shut up. He didn't have to tell the guy to stop talking about me. He didn't have to do any of that. It all worked out. Amen. You know. But Boaz got some problems. There's another guy that's number one that's supposed to marry Ruth. So he can't sleep. And he finally wakes up. And falls asleep, wakes up. Gets up early in the morning. And he said, let me see your little sack there. And he measured 6 measures of barley and laid it on her. And he said, now you can go now. You know what 6, that was a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Amen. He said, baby, I want to make sure you got some money. Amen. Because you can trust me. I'm going to take care of business. Can you imagine that? Can you see Ruth walking out the door, carrying as much corn as she can, little corn here, little corn there, falling out of her, everything she can hold. Cause she packed, loaded with the benefits of God, loaded with the benefits that God has given her. And so the man, he goes down, and the woman goes down, Ruth. She tells her mother-in-law. Her mother-in-law says, "Don't worry about it, baby. Don't worry about it, Ruth." Now, this man's not going to rest till everything gets done. In other words, when a man makes up his mind, ain't nothing going to be done until it gets accomplished. It gets accomplished. I am reaping the benefits of working all those years at my daddy's kitchen, going out of town. I don't know how many times I went out of town. I was always out of town. Dow Chemical, Louisiana, this chemical over here, that company over there. I was going everywhere. As a young man, it didn't matter to me. But I wanted to come home early. So I like to leave about 4 o'clock in the morning. If I'm going to go somewhere, I'm going to leave at 4. And we're going to have a 2-hour lunch, and I'm paying for it. And I'm going to impress her, and I want her or him to like me. Because if they like you, guess what? They'll do better with you. If they don't like you, they ain't going to do better with you. Real simple. Even if they don't do better with you, if they like you, sooner or later, they're going to do better with you. Amen. So you keep that relationship going, whether it works or not. So I'll get a phone call. My brother goes, is this my buddy? Yeah, you remember me. Yeah, me and my brother went out there and saw you. And then me and my dad saw you. You remember us, yeah. I got a load of boxes. Would you like to buy them? Yeah, I'll buy them. He said, I got 30. He said, I got about 17 loads of plastic. Would you like to buy them? He said, I buy every one of them. And we bailing it up and bailing it up. And the guy we're selling it to, he just wiring the money and wiring the money and wiring the money and wiring the money. He was so excited that we were bailing the material instead of sending it through the boxes. He just sent us $15,000. He just said, here you go. Here's a little play money. I said, well, thank you. I appreciate that. You say, what does it take? It takes work. It takes a mission. You're on a mission. The mission is a lifetime mission. You have a mission. So, Boaz, he goes downtown, and he meets the other fella and says, hey, come here. Then he sees 10 guys in the city and says, come here, I want to talk to y'all. Now listen, Naomi's daughter-in-law, Ruth, has a piece of land for sale. And your first pick, because that was your brother. So do you want to buy it? He said, I want to buy it. He said, good. He said, now if you buy it, Ruth comes along. You have to wed her, have babies with her, and raise those babies for your brother. That's how they did it back in the days. He said, oh no, I cannot mar my name. People would think bad about me. People would think bad that I'm raising children for this guy, for my brother, who married a Moabite. It was for 10 generations. She can now enter into the temple. Perfect timing. So he said, no, I don't want my name associated with her. Stipulations. Stipulations, sort of like heaven. It's for the good, for the bad, for the ugly, for the religious, but you must be born again. You must have the blood. Kinsman said, I ain't gonna do it, I ain't gonna do it, I ain't gonna do it. Amen. People are afraid to do things that are the right thing. And when they use the term friend, a friend is someone that will stay with you when you're right, when you're wrong, and when you started it. It was your fault. You did it. You know you did it. But they're your friend, so they'll back you up. And they'll get in the bar fight, but you shouldn't have been dancing with that woman because that woman was married and you knew it. You're getting it, man. So Boaz took off, he said, you can take off your shoe, and they, that's how they did it back in them days. He said, I'm going to marry her. And so he marries Ruth, the Moabite. He says, I purchased her for to be my wife and raised up the name of the dead upon her and upon his inheritance. If the name the name of the dead be not cut off from among his brethren. And all the people that were in the gate, the elders said, we are the witnesses. We agree. You don't want you get your name marred by marrying this Moabite. And the Lord allowed this young lady, just like the Lord made the woman, that is, came into the house like Rachel, like Leah, which did build the house of Israel, and did worthily in Ephrath, and be famous in Bethlehem, and let the house be like the house of Phares, whose Tamar bare unto Judah of the seed which the Lord should give of the young woman. So Boaz took Ruth, and the next thing you know, they got a baby. Naomi's grandma. She happy. She loves carrying that baby. And she carried that baby and nursed that baby. And that little baby, she nursed it. And they called, after he had a son, they called his name Obadiah. When he had a son, they called his name Jesse. When he had a son, they called his name David. And guess who he became? The second king of Israel. That's King David. I say to the first guy, you didn't want to mar his name by associating with somebody that was willing to take on a woman because she was a Moabite, didn't want to raise children. You an idiot. You just a plain idiot. Because the blessings came. And the blessings just kept on coming. It's in the book of the New Testament. It is in the book of the New Testament. Nobody wanted nothing to do with this woman. And God said, that's okay. That's all right. Her first husband died. I brought her back. She married a rich man. She never had to work again. Had a good baby. Had a good grandson. Had a great grandson. became king.